Hello students, today we are going to be talking about forces. In particular, we're going to be talking about balanced forces and what does it mean for a force to be balanced. So, what I would like you to do is start by writing down what it is. An object has a balanced force if it is not moving. So for example, you can have an object here that is a box, and let's say that this box is absolutely still. It is on a table or on the ground, and it is not moving at all. Now we know that it is balanced because even though it is pulled down, but we know that it is also pulled up or pushed up or held up by whatever object is under it. So in other words, we're saying that there's a force here that we call gravity, and we're going to write this as Fg. And we have another force that is pushing back. Now we're going to talk about this force later on, but we're going to write down Fn, which is normal force. Okay, and so then let's just describe what these are. So Fg is gravity. And we're going to call it gravity force. Or gravitational force, that's another way to say it. And Fn is normal force. Normal force is what we call if an object is kind of fighting back against gravity. It's not pushing the object up, but it is just simply holding the object up. So in this case, we could say that the gravity force is the same as the normal force. And I'm going to underline the word the same there, because we can then slowly turn this into a word equation, and we are going to say that gravity is equal to normal force. So from here, I hope that you can see that this is an example of an object that has a balanced force. Okay, a lot of objects that are on your tables right now, or even you just sitting on your chair, that's an example of how the gravity is pulling you down, but the normal force of whatever object you're sitting on or the object is on is pushing it up equally. Now, there is another example. And this is when another object is pushing that object that you have. So I have my box on the table, and I still have the force of gravity right here pulling it down. I still have the normal force pushing it up. But now let's say that I'm pushing this to the left. Now, if we're going to say that this is not moving, then we can say that there has to be something else that's holding it back. So even though it's being pushed, but there's something else that's holding it back. And we're just going to write this right now simply as holding it back. But now the way that you know that this is balanced is because it's not moving. And if it is not moving, then you know that in this case, the gravity is equal to the normal force. So that's something that we already figured out there. But also, the push is the same as the thing that is holding it back. So this is an example of a balanced force right here. Now, there is one more thing I'm going to add. And actually, objects can also have a balanced force if it is moving. But what do we mean by that? Well, we could say here that an object also has balanced force, a balanced force, if it moves at a constant speed. So in other words, if you have a car here and the car is moving at, let's say, constantly 10 kilometers per hour, if it is constant, then we know that it has a balanced force, because even though there's an object that's pushing it, but there is maybe an object that's holding it back to some level, but the push is still just as strong and is constant and it's not moving. So that's also an example of a balanced force right there. Okay, so there are two examples now of when an object is called balanced. So if it is moving at a constant speed, right, let's point out that the car is not going faster or slower. That is also a balanced force. So with that, that is the notes that we have for now. All right, so just to highlight or to summarize, a balanced force is ultimately when an object is not moving, but we also can tell that it has a balanced force if it is moving at a constant speed. It is not going faster or slower. And with that, that is the notes.